you in the process of starting your own business? Ever thought about it but just haven't started? Whether you are a seasoned professional or just kicking off your dream of becoming an independent business owner, you are invited to join us for this incredible journey. Discover and become a part of this diverse group of women who aim to support, inspire, uplift, and encourage like-minded women just like you within our Ladypreneur 100 community. We're going to remove for you the mystique of entrepreneurship, show you how to increase your leads, effectively market your business, and teach you how to build a powerful strategic alliance. You can find us on Facebook by going to the IB Network or by visiting us at our website, www.successradio.us. You can also find our show on TuneIn Radio by searching for the Ladypreneur 100 Show. That's Ladypreneur 100. Be sure to follow us there. Welcome to Ladypreneur 100. I'm your host, Kym Welton. Ladypreneur 100 is a community of professionals here to uplift, inspire, empower one another. And what we do is we have guests on our show who talk about what it is that they do in their personal journey and their businesses. And so today I have a very, very special guest. I have a dear friend of mine, Joanna Brown. Hello, Joanna.
Hello, Kym.
And I really wanted to bring Joanna in here. One, she is a dear friend of ours, as I just mentioned, mine and my husband. But more importantly, she is very community focused. She's building an empire with her husband and her daughters. And I wanted to hear, a lot of young ladies, Joanna, they have this idea that they really want to build a business, but they don't get after it. And you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a business owner, you've had a very, very successful career. Talk to us a little bit about your mindset when you thought, I'm going to dig in here and I'm really going to go out and build something and inspire my daughters.
Well, it's something that's scary. Originally, no, I don't think I wanted to do this. I wanted something that I wanted my husband to go out and build something, and I'd just kind of follow along. When we got into our business, though, I got so passionate and excited about what we were doing and how we were helping the community. I thought, this is it. Like, you've got to pour your heart and soul into it to get it running. But the biggest obstacle is fear. It took me a while because I had the fear of rejection, the fear of regret. Do I regret leaving a steady income, a steady paycheck to go out and fight for your dreams? But that means also you don't have all the benefits that come along when you have a regular job. But it's something that's so important. And so I wanted my girls to know that this is building your future. We're building something for you guys that we could leave to you guys and also for our grandkids. And we want this to be a generational thing. So to get out of our mindset of right now and what's in it for us right now, but thinking long term and reaching how is this going to bless our family and our lineage for generations to come.
Well, I think I see so many careerists out there, both men and women, who they work for 40 plus years.
right?
Yes.
And they have nothing to really give their children at the end of it. And that was, I think, one of the things that really stood out to me the most was I had a great career. You had a great career, but we were spending so many hours away from our home, away from our children. And realistically, at the end of it, I couldn't give them something that nothing tangible, like a business or a legacy. And so when we talked about entrepreneurship and we talked about building something to have, something to show for, we want to have something to show for all of our hard work. It was like, okay, it makes so much sense. You work 4 to 6 really hard years, especially in our industry, which is financial services. You work in this industry, you really dig in for a few years instead of 40 years, and you create that empire and that legacy to give your kids, right?
Right. And your kids would be so much more appreciative. I know being a working mom and going, you take the kids to school, to daycare, whatever, early in the morning, you drop them off, you're at work all day long, you go pick them up, then you've got to make dinner, you've got to get the laundry done. You feel like being that working mom, you never really get to spend the quality time that you want with them because you're constantly running around and you're exhausted.
Right.
Where now we are working hard, but we're working hard for something that I know is going to give us so much more at the end of the day than just working a 9 to 5 or an 8 to 5 and then just constantly exhausted. I'm exhausted now, but it's a good exhaustion and our kids can see it and our kids can benefit. And they now have, our daughter has joined the business. Our other ones, when they graduate, they're going to join the business. So we can do this and it's a family affair, not just seeing mom and dad go to work, come home, have dinner, and then the day's done.
That's a great example, actually, because your husband was very successful as well.
Yes.
Right. So Doug worked at Boeing.
Yes.
Was it? And so you had a very high household income. You have 3 incredibly beautiful daughters, all elite athletes. Why don't you give their school a shout out?
We have our oldest she's a junior in college at Valley City State University in Valley City, North Dakota, playing volleyball and running track for them. Our middle daughter she's playing volleyball for McCook Community College in McCook, Nebraska. And then our youngest is a sophomore at Coronado High School in Colorado Springs.
Incredible athletes. Madison, Mallory, and Michaela. Right? They're all incredible. But they get to watch you. I mean, and one of the things, when I see people, I think really when we were looking at building our business, it just stood out to us how much time is spent by mom and dad outside of the household.
Yes.
And we talked about this on our show just a couple weeks ago, but it really was impactful. I mean, when you're gone and your husband's gone, and I know he got to work from home just a little bit, but still not really focusing on the household things because he had to be committed to working and earning an income. But when your children witness you building something together and hitting goals together, instead of mom has her goals, her career goals, dad has his career goals, you have goals together and you're reaching them together.
Yes. And that's what our country was founded on, entrepreneurship. It wasn't founded on these 8 to 5 jobs. Right. And our society has completely switched. So what we were founded on, now everybody thinks you need to go out, you need to get a good education. Thank God my daughters are athletic and have scholarships that are paying for their college. If not, to me, college isn't even what it used to be. Right. But before, it's go out, get a good job, or get a good education to get a good job, to work 40 years, and then hopefully you've got something left over that you can live on and you don't run out of money. Our girls now are seeing, they get so excited, like, even when they were all in high school, and our youngest now, they're like, well, when I graduate and when I turn 18, I'm going to do the business with you. And they get excited about that. And that's something that we're teaching them, that it's not, don't go out for just a paycheck, but go out. God gives us passion and he gives us dreams and desires that, to change the world. And what are we going to do with that? And to me, being behind a desk 8 hours a day isn't accomplishing anything that I wanted to do, that God really put in my heart to help bless our community.
And it's wonderful because I know your daughters are, 1, supportive, but 2, somewhat involved.
Yes.
So tell us, how do you get your daughters involved in your business?
Well, we showed them, they saw what we were doing, and how we were helping families. And so when they saw that and they got excited when they saw the money that could be made. So they're like, we want to do that. Okay, well, you have to go through you have to work hard. And we're teaching them like the value of good work ethic. And I think that's something that lacks a lot too, is people don't know what hard work really is. They want an easy paycheck, and that's not,
Right.
Being an entrepreneur, there's no easy paycheck. There's hard work in everything that you do, especially when you're starting to build a business. Right. Any new business takes a lot of time and hard work. But you also, if you're passionate about it, then you know it's going to succeed, and you just got to dig and dig. And our girls are seeing that, and they're seeing the fruit of our labors, that we can do this. If mom and dad can do it, then we could do it. And they see the bigger picture, and they see what they could do for their families when they have families, hopefully 10 years down the road.
Created this generational legacy.
Yes.
And it's the most wonderful thing to not only just grow with your spouse, but to have your kids witness your growth together.
Yes.
and meeting those goals together, and to inspire them to want to own their own business and follow in your footsteps. Today's special guest is Joanna Brown, financial services industry, and she's talking to us just today about her journey in becoming an entrepreneur, what that looks like, building a business with her family and her daughters. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Ladypreneur 100 on Success Radio USA, part of the Internet Broadcasting Network. You can find and follow your favorite shows on TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, Spotify Podcast, iTunes, Internet Radio, Spreaker, and SoundCloud. Just search for your favorite shows by name, and be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast, Internet Radio, or by our website. Thank you for listening and sharing with your friends and coworkers, and thanks for supporting Success Radio USA. Listening to Success Radio USA at successradio.us. Success Radio USA is committed to helping you achieve a positive daily approach to your success each and every day. Thank you for listening.
Success Radio USA.
Thank you, and welcome back to Ladypreneur 100. Today we have a very special guest, Joanna Brown, here from Colorado Springs. Joanna, we're talking just a little bit about building your current business and with your daughters and what that looks like in the household. But I'd like to hear a little bit more about you. I'd really like for our audience to know about Joanna Brown and where were you born? Where did you come from? You have an absolutely incredibly fascinating family story. So share that with our listeners.
I was born in Arlington, Texas. My dad played professional football, but he went to Texas Tech, so go Red Raiders. He got drafted by Chicago Bears in 1977 and then ended up in the CFL. So my entire life growing up, we moved every 6 months. We had a house in Dallas, and we lived in Dallas during the off season, and then during the season, we lived in Canada. And he kept getting traded, so I can't tell. I've lived all over Canada. But it was a fascinating childhood. Nothing was normal. I didn't have a normal childhood. I used to tell my mom, I'm marrying a businessman, and we're going to live in one house, and I'm never moving. We moved so much. But it was. I mean, it was definitely an interesting lifestyle. When he retired, we moved back to Texas, and then we lived in Dallas. And then my junior year of high school, the CFL decided to come back down to the States. And see, I don't know if I said CFL is Canadian Football League, for those who don't know anything about football. And so the Canadian Football League decided to come back down to the States and try the game in the States. It's a little bit different than the NFL. And so they brought a team to Shreveport, Louisiana. So March of my junior year in high school, my dad says, guess what? We're moving to Shreveport, Louisiana. Who does that to a kid? But my dad. And I should have been used to it from moving so much. So we moved to Shreveport. I didn't want to go. I was in drill team. I was captain of the basketball team, captain of the drill team. I did track, cross country. I did it all. And I wasn't going to go. And my dad said, you never know, Joanna, your future husband could be in Shreveport. And his famous last words, sure enough, that's where I met my husband. We met, we went to a small private school and started dating almost right away. And so my husband was born here in Colorado Springs. His dad was in the military. Okay. So they were stationed in Shreveport. So God brought us together. Right. We got married, lived in Dallas for 6 months, and he hated Texas. It was too hot. So he immediately, Doug took the Greyhound bus back to Colorado, and he's like, I'm finding us a place to live until he was ready to get out of there. So we moved up here in 2001. He finished school. He went to University of Northern Colorado, got his degree, and got his pilot's license. And then in the meantime, we have 3 kids and 3 girls. And then when he graduated, we left Greeley. It does smell there. Anybody that knows anything about Greeley, Colorado, it stinks. And we moved down. We've been in Colorado Springs now for 18 years. So your daughters have grown up here. Our girls have grown up here. Yeah. 2 of them were born in Texas, and then the last one was born in Greeley. So yeah, and then and so it's funny. It's interesting when we moved down here. I knew I needed to go back to work. I was working from home while Doug was going to school. But I needed to go out and get a job. And so I just really been praying about, God, where do you want me to go? My biggest thing was, I don't want to work for a paycheck. I want to do something that's meaningful, impactful. So I found there's a nonprofit here, that ministry that I absolutely love, and I love what they're doing. And so I was able to get on with them and work in public relations. And I was doing that for 12 years. So that was fun. But again, it's an 8 to 5 job and behind a desk all day long. And that's not where my heart was. Even though my heart was with the ministry and what they're doing, my heart wasn't being behind a desk all day long. Right. So going out now and then finding something that I can build for my kids and for my family, that was huge. So that's when I was like, we've got to do this. We've got to go all in. At first it was Doug, who was like, no, he's like, I'm going to do this. And I was like, absolutely not. You go ahead and you do you, but I don't want any part of it. And then I found, just being out there and helping families and changing lives, but seeing it firsthand, there's something that's, you don't get every day, and that's that's so fulfilling. But also being able to helping other ministries, helping other nonprofits financially, that's huge. And that's really when if you can when you're only making a certain amount, then you're on a limited income. Absolutely. When you're on a fixed income, it's hard to give more and give out to the community more, because you only have that set amount coming in. Right. But when you're on your own, when you can make as much money as you want because it's you doing it, then everything's changed. So giving out and helping our community with the nonprofits or different organizations, that's huge too. And that's so fulfilling for us.
That's a big part of your life. Yes. That's so much of what you guys do. And I know you volunteer a lot for the girls' sports. You're always there. You're very reliable. I know that your mom was very entrepreneurial minded. Yes. Right? She's been on many ventures. Tell us how that inspired you, because your mom is very inspiring.
Oh, my mom is absolutely amazing. She's started, she's always had the entrepreneurial mindset. So when my dad played football, she noticed that he was not getting as much money. He wasn't getting paid like she thought he should. So she became, I'm going to become his agent. And she became his agent, and my dad was the highest paid player in the CFL at that time. And then other guys. So then, like, she got other guys that, you know, she became her own professional, a sports agent. Yeah. And then I remember her, like, when we were little, she wanted to open up. She's very healthy, she's always been into health. And so she wanted to have the vegetables where you have, the machines that,
like the blender type,
yes. You know, like a Jamba Juice kind of, but all healthy stuff. She wanted to do that back in the 80s before it was even popular. So she's always had that mindset. And now she started a multivitamin company that's liquid vitamins, and she's doing it all on her own. But it's fascinating because she's had struggles, and real hard struggles where, you know, you've got people, you know, she's had to go to court and stuff like that. And she's all by herself, and she has very limited income. And she has now made this multivitamin. I got to give a shout out to that. It's to your health vitamins, daily liquid vitamins. I got to shout out to my mom. But it's amazing. The stuff is amazing. The product's amazing. And what kept pushing her, people push her back and say, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And she fought and she fought and she fought. And now she has something that's her own that, it gives me goosebumps, and I'm so proud of her because she has worked her butt off, and she hasn't taken no for an answer. And she does it when she gets hit with rejection. She doesn't give up. And now it's been, you know, it's very successful. So I'm proud of her, and her showing me that too, has kind of inspired me. Like, no, you don't have to go just get a job just for a paycheck. Like, you know, there's so many things out there, and that's what God put on her heart. You know, that's her passion. And so you
guys, you and your brother got to witness your mom building this for herself.
Yes.
And so, I mean, I think even just through that, being a part of it, you grow some thick skin as well, right? Because you've seen people kind of try to talk her out of it, and she's sticking to her guns like, this is going to happen. I am making this happen.
Yep.
And there, you know, in any business venture, there's a lot of rejection. That might be even the hardest part.
I think it is, getting over rejection.
Right. Getting people to see the vision that you see. You know, I tell people there's a movie called Shallow Hal. And in Shallow Hal, there's a scene where Hal asks his best friend, who is the most beautiful woman in the world? And his friend says, Wonder Woman, of course. And he said, but what if the whole world said that she was hideous? What if they all didn't see what you see? Because that's ridiculous. She's the most beautiful woman in the world. I see it. I can tell. But sometimes people just aren't going to see what you see.
Right.
And you can't make them. They have to see. Once it happens, they're like, oh, now I get it. Yep. Do you see? So you got to keep fighting through it. And I think sometimes we don't really need to convince people to see what we see. But once it starts to come to fruition, they go, man, I'm so glad they stuck to their guns. I'm so glad that they didn't give up.
And people are haters, and you're going to have, I mean, you've got the naysayers out there. But I think that also gives you fuel for, you know, I'm going to show you. No, this is what I've been called to do. This is what I want to do. And you've got to go fight for your dreams and fight for your vision and your passion. And if not, then this world, we're not supposed to be robots. I think everybody we've kind of gone through where I'm just going to go to work and I'm going to come home and I'll go to the gym or make dinner. But there's so much more out there. And so that's where, you know, it is being like my mom, she was hit so hard again, you know, with so many different people saying, no, it's not going to work. There's no money. There's no money in that. You're never going to do anything. You're a woman. You can't do it as a woman by yourself. And I mean, she's just been hit with so many obstacles. But my mom is, you know, there's nobody more stronger than my mom. And so she was like, I'm not taking no for an answer. And she went out and took him to court and she got her business. And, you know, so I'm proud of her.
She is your Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she is my Wonder Woman.
How long has she been doing this for now?
Since 2003.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's been, you know, a long journey, but it's been, you know, it's so worth it at the end. So,
So for those young ladies out there who are just kind of toying with the idea of starting something new, maybe getting into their own business, what piece of advice would you give them?
Do your research, figure out what the needs are in the market, if there's a need for what you want. Know that God's giving you something and you have something burning inside of you, you're going to make it no matter what. Like that's in you, and that's why you're put on this earth. So don't ever take the rejection or the fear. So many people, I've heard it said that there's, so many businesses and startups and things in the grave. Because in the cemetery, you go to the cemetery, all these people had so many things they wanted to do and accomplish, and they never did. It died with them. And you don't want that. You don't want to go to your deathbed knowing that, saying, what if? Right. What if I had done that? What if I just followed my passion and followed my dream? What would have it looked like?
Right.
And I don't ever want that for my kids. I don't want my kids to see that with their parents. And I don't want, I want my girls, I teach them, go follow your dream. They love playing volleyball, and they're not tall. They're, you're supposed to be 5, at least 6 foot, and my girls are 5'8", 5'9". But they had a passion for it. They loved it, and they wanted to play in college. Okay, go after that. Yeah. And they worked hard, and they got it, and they got full ride scholarships. And to me, that's amazing. So that's in anything that you want to do. Have a passion for it. You've got to have a passion. If you don't have a passion for it, it's probably not going to succeed, because failure or rejection will put you down. Absolutely. But if you have a passion, if you have a burning desire for something, then know that that's in you for a reason, and you've got to go after it, even though there's going to be rejection and fear. You've got to get tough skin and just fight through it, because at the other end, it's going to be so worth it.
Pour gas on the flames, right? Keep pouring that gas on the flames.
Yes.
Well, we're going to take a very quick break. We're here with our very special guest, Joanna Brown. Don't go away.
Listening to Success Radio USA at successradio.us. Success Radio USA is your source for inspirational, motivational, informative, and life-changing daily content. Thank you for listening.
Success Radio USA.
Hello and welcome back to Ladypreneur 100. We're here with my dear friend and a very special guest, Joanna Brown, and she's talking to us just a little bit about her journey in building an empire with her husband and a legacy for her daughters. And one of the things that you mentioned, Joanna, in the last segment was, is there a need for what you do? If you're going to give advice to somebody starting their own business, and for them to really evaluate the market. And that brings us to a really good point here. I think people, they hear the term 7 streams of income, right? Have you heard that term? Yep. And they get it so confused. They think I need 7 jobs to create income. right? And so they scramble and they're like, oh, I'm going to have this job. That's a stream of income, and this thing, and that's a stream of income, and this MLM, and that's a stream of income, and this, but realistically, the people who chase those types of streams of income, if you will, they're exhausted and they're typically broke, and they can't manage their time very well. And if they did make it, they're much older, and it took them a long time to get there. Where if we could teach people much not younger, but younger in their business sense, right, to create these multiple streams of income in a way that doesn't exhaust them or really cause them to spend more money than make more money. So what I mean by that is essentially, I've had people come to me and they say, well, I've read this book and I've heard that speaker, and I need to have 7 streams of income. So they start all of these different businesses, and each one of those businesses has some type of monthly minimum. They have some type of overhead. They have some type of startup fee. They have some type of maybe rent, or, there's something that costs money for them to do that. And they're not looking into passive income, residual income, investments, maybe even dabbling a little bit in real estate where it doesn't require a lot of attention, but it does cost maybe a little bit of upfront capital. And I know you guys have rental properties. That's one stream that's coming in. It's been lucrative. But there's so many ways to make money work for you instead of you chasing those dollars, right? And it just really basically comes down to business sense. So you mentioned, is there a need for what people do? And there's this analysis that we've done in our office that I think has been pretty helpful, and it's called a SWOT, SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So what I tell people is sit down and evaluate what it is that you're getting into and what's the need, as you mentioned. What are the strengths of this type of business? Does everybody need it? Can everybody afford it? Is it typically geared towards men or typically geared towards women? Is it of all ages, of all demographics? How about, the weaknesses maybe it is only tailored to one income bracket, or, or maybe it's just geared towards women, or, those are weaknesses. And if the market changes, or if our economy shifts, can people still afford that product? Right. Or are they going to go online? They're going to shop online and look for bargains, or go to Walmart, or, one of the cheaper options. The opportunities in that is there an opportunity for you to really have a strong footprint, to really create something that's maybe not getting to the people who need it the most? Is there a supply and demand, but there's not enough supply? That's really where the opportunity comes in. And in our industry, and really in our business, we're focused on everybody. Everybody needs what we do. Right. And when everybody wants to save money, everybody wants to retire, everybody, retire, even if they choose to work, that will be their choice, not that they want to work until they're 90. I mean, you know what I mean? So, or they have to work until they're 90. But, and then of course the threats is this industry so oversaturated that I'm really not going to be able to make a difference? Right. So doing the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, there are internal and external things that kind of, what can I do internally, and what are the external things that I need to kind of get a handle on, and then creating this business plan that says, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I am going to be different from all of those competitors out there. Because realistically, every industry is saturated to some extent, right? So you have to be different. And how are you making your mark so that people are drawn to you? And then through that analysis, of course, you can determine how are there multiple ways of making income through this one endeavor. Right? That makes sense. So, tell me, and I know that, you've been in your industry now for a few years, and when you and your husband sat down and you were talking about, here's what we want to do to really, make a difference. I know you're very community focused. I know you're very spiritual, and that having a heart for others, is very important to you and Doug and your servant leaders. So talk to me about your roles in community and how you are building something that is reaching countless families, and how you both do that together.
Well, and what you were talking about jumped to the multiple streams of income. When we first started, before we started this industry, I was like, we needed to bring some more money in, even though we had great careers, but competitive volleyball, I don't know if anybody's played club sports, but good gosh, it's expensive. And we travel all over. And I had been praying, I'm like, we just need an extra $1,000 because we don't like debt. And we wanted to pay cash for everything. So I was like, I just need an extra $1,000. So I really was thinking about going to work at Starbucks. But I'm like, to us, our kids were more important. I didn't want to spend extra hours away from the in the office or getting, I could get promotions, but that means that it's longer hours. Now working 40 hours, I'm working 60 hours a week. I didn't want that. I didn't want to sacrifice my kids. So And so I was like, okay, maybe I could work at Starbucks. Well, no, that makes, even if I'm working only 20 hours a week, I'm working 60 hours a week, working a second job just to pay for volleyball. And that means I still don't get to see him. I'm not going to be able to spend time with him. So I really wanted something that would bring me home where I could kind of work my own schedule, work our own hours, and still be there for our girls and be able to watch them play. Because you only get your kids for so many years. You've got them for 18 years and then they're gone. And I didn't want for Doug and I, it wasn't worth the money it wasn't worth sacrificing them and their time to just make an extra couple of dollars an hour.
Right.
So when this came along in financial services, it's like, oh my word, this can bring in so much more money than we were making in our full-time jobs, but also it gives us a freedom to spend with the kids that we want. And so we're in control of our time and we're in control of what our day looks like, not our boss. So that was right there. That was huge. Getting out in the community, it's going to different networking groups, going to the churches and, so many people, especially financial. There's such a financial cancer in our society today. Everybody wants to keep up with the Joneses and they can't. So because they can't, they put everything on a credit card and they get in so much debt. And then now they're trying to crawl out of that debt and it just gets worse. I promise you, kids don't get any cheaper. They just get more expensive. And so it just gets worse and worse and pile up. And what makes me so sad is when we go and meet with families and we go through their debt and they've got 2 pages worth of credit cards in debt and they can't, for me, it's saving marriages. Right. What we do saves marriages because there are families, the number one cause for divorce is finance.
Right.
And I'm so passionate about saving marriages. And, that's when I get to sit down with a family and help them and show them how to get out of debt. And we get to do that for free. That's huge. And so many people are like, well, I can't afford a financial advisor. What do you mean you can't afford it? They're free. Guess not everybody's like that, but but with us, it is like we will sit down with you for free. And that's what I love because people they're begging out there. They're so desperate and they're desperate for help. And so that gives me, when I go in and show a family, this is how you guys can get out of debt faster. Yeah. And then you see, like, we've had families, women crying at the table because they're like, I didn't know. And, we've sat down with families and the wives are like, okay, husband, leave. I got credit cards you don't know about.
Yeah, we have. They're like, they'll call you the next day. By the way, there might be another $1,000 that she doesn't know. I know.
We've had, it's quite interesting, but it's also like but they don't know. And so to help families, that right there, we want to be the answer. I feel like I have the answer for cancer. It's like but it's the financial cancer and we've got to share it and we've got to get out there. And what I love too is that I get to do this with my husband, the man that I love most, and to go out there and do something so powerful for families, but do it with my partner in life is huge. Like, he's not doing this on his own. I'm not doing it on my own. Like, we're doing it together. We're a couple. And that right there, I think that's something else that's huge in entrepreneurship and in business is include your spouse. Yeah. Even if they're not in the day-to-day, in the, out in the trenches. Thank you. If they're not out in the trenches, they can be supportive of you. Right. And just being supportive and knowing that my spouse has my back no matter what, the good times and the bad times, that's huge.
And, the thing, too, is they're not teaching this stuff in school.
Right.
And
no.
I'm a big proponent of public schools. I believe in the public school system. Very, very much so. All of our children have gone to public school, but they don't teach this stuff. They don't even teach it in private school. They don't teach it at all. They're teaching things about having a great credit score. And what in the world are you talking about? I mean, they're talking about getting credit cards to have a better credit score instead of paying cash for everything. Instead of having assets, instead of teaching them about residual income, instead of they can't teach what they don't know, so we can't expect them to, right? And that's why there's such a huge need for what it is that we do. Everybody really, they truly need it. And one of the things, as you're building a business, I think people forget to invest their time. And time should not be spent. Your time should be invested. Your time is valuable, just like money is. You'd never just throw money away, and you shouldn't throw your time away. You've got to spend it with the right people who, want to support your business or who maybe have a need for what it is that you do. So on that business journey, as you're developing your business plan, as you're trying to figure out the SWOT and figure out what is the need of the community for these types of services and creating that footprint, all of these things they come into play, right? You want to have something that is different from your competitors. You want to make sure that people, they have a need and they want to work. They want the services that you can provide, and they want to see you as a professional. And that all comes right down to having a great business plan and creating a, kind of a campaign for yourself. Like, this is what I'm doing, and this is how I'm going to serve the community. So we're here at Ladypreneur 100 with Joanna Brown. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Listening to Ladypreneur 100 on Success Radio USA, part of the Internet Broadcasting Network. You can find and follow your favorite shows on TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio Podcast, Spotify Podcast, iTunes, Internet Radio, Spreaker, and SoundCloud. Just search for your favorite shows by name and be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast or Internet Radio provider website. Thank you for listening and sharing with your friends and coworkers, and thanks for supporting Success Radio USA. Listening to Success Radio USA at successradio.us. Success Radio USA is committed to helping you achieve a positive daily approach to your success each and every day. Thank you for listening.
Success Radio USA.
Hi, I'm Kym Welton. Thank you for returning to Ladypreneur 100. I'm here with a very special guest, Joanna Brown. We're talking about the 7 streams of income, the SWOT analysis, how to build your own business with your partner, and really creating something that's going to be lasting for generations to come. And in this last segment, Joanna, I want to talk just a little bit about something that we hear a lot of. I know you hear this as a woman, and we see this a lot. But so many people, I think the foundation is really a mismanagement of time. But it almost feels like, as a woman, and you can correct me if you don't feel this way, but it feels like we have to do everything. Yes. And it's almost a badge of honor to say, my house is clean, my car is clean, my kids, I drove them to school and I made their meals and we're having fun time and then I pick them up and I'm going to sports and I'm doing this and I'm building a business, right? It's almost like we want the world to know how absolutely much we can cram into one single day. Mm-hmm. And then we're exhausted and grumpy and feel unappreciated.
Yes.
Right?
Amen.
But we're not. We kind of bring that on ourselves, right? And I think one of the biggest things is we neglect to take care of ourselves, or we forget to take a day off, meaning I'm taking a day off doesn't mean I'm just not going to the office, or taking a day off means I'm not doing laundry, I'm not cooking, I'm not taking a phone call, I'm not answering my texts. And so it went, instead of, focusing on ourselves just a little tiny bit, if we took that little teeny tiny bit of time to focus on ourselves, I think we would even get more done.
Yes.
Right?
And women don't understand that. They think, you think we have to do it all. Mm-hmm. And men don't have that. They don't have that pressure on them. But it's like the women do. They have to cook. They have to clean, get the kids ready. They're the ones taking the kids to school and the sports and all that, like everything. And it's almost overwhelming. And I had gotten to a place, even just working a day job, I couldn't do it all. And I wanted to, because I wanted my husband to be proud of me. And, my wife is this and that. And then at the end of the day, I don't even want him to look at me. I am exhausted. Don't even, come over on my side of the bed. It ain't happening.
And I'm mad at you.
Why aren't you helping? So, but I think women put that pressure on ourselves. And coming up with a schedule is absolutely, it's huge. You've got to put time in. Even if it's going to get a manicure or if it's going to the gym. For me, I needed to put going to the gym because I hate going to the gym. But when I went to the gym, then I'd be like, oh my gosh, even if it's going to a class, like a Zumba class. I love going to Zumba classes. And it was fun, but everything, I could just be me, have fun, dance, but it kind of, all the pressures of the world kind of went away for that hour that I was in class. And I just feel refreshed and I felt good leaving the gym. Okay, I did something for me. Now I can give. I can give to my husband. I can give to the kids.
Right.
I'm not the best cooker, and I really don't like cooking. So we found a meal planning company that it's amazing. I go and pick up meals and everything's ready for me. It's wonderful. But it's finding little things like that. If you don't have time to cook or, whatever, you don't have to do it all. But even though society thinks, I think that society puts that pressure where women feel like you've got to work because now it's two-income households.
Correct.
The women aren't staying home as, like they used to. So the women are out there working, but then they also have the responsibilities of still being like the stay-at-home mom. Yep. So where do you have that balance?
Right.
And it is taking time for yourself. And if it's leaving the kids with the dad while I go to the gym for an hour, or even having the daycare at the gym. That was huge for me when our girls were little. I could just put them in daycare. Sunday school was amazing. Just at church was great. But it's just having that little bit of time that you can, that for yourself is huge. But you've got to schedule it in, and you've got to have a schedule. You've got to get your calendar out, and you've got to mark every minute of the day of what you're doing, and put that in. And then that kind of frees you up, okay, I do have time and I can relax for an hour a day.
You need that refresh.
Yes.
You need that refresh. And there is a growing increase of women struggling from depression.
Yes.
And having, social issues. But and I'm not saying that's a severe thing to deal with, is depression. But I think every so often we can still just take a little bit of time to ourselves. Women are getting more sick more often, depressed more often. And there are many factors. I'm not saying that this is all, but we really do need to start taking some time to ourselves just a little bit. It isn't a badge of honor to say, I can do everything. I'm doing everything. Look at me. I'm going to post it all on social media. Look at all the things that I can cram into one single day. Because it means nothing when you're ill.
Right.
Right, because then you can't do the things that people need you for. You know, your children need you, your spouse needs you, and we've got to be able to take some time for ourselves, just even if it's just a little bit. And I think we feel guilty. I used to feel guilty. Did you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I'd feel guilty. Like I'm going to get a manicure. I mean, I'll go get my nails done, but oh my gosh, I got to get home because
Right. There would be times I remember the girls were little, and I just locked myself in the bathroom and like 30 minutes. Just give me 5 minutes, and they're screaming at the door and knocking and crying and like, no, just let me have a shower by myself. I remember, and like, okay, bring the kids in.
Right.
So, like taking showers with the little kids because you can't, you don't want to give them 5. You don't give yourself 5 minutes.
Right. They even crawl into your bed or they're, they want our time. They deservedly you should have our time. But we see those pictures though, right? Of the mom with a vacuum, a kid on her hip. She's wearing an apron. She's got a cell phone. And it's kind of like that's who society has kind of wanted us to be. And so we put pressure on ourselves to be that person. Oh, look at these cookies I've made with my kids and the 7-course meal and my home is immaculate and I'm building an empire. And it's like, man, no wonder we're sick and tired.
Right. And I think probably one of the problems is social media because everybody, nobody's life is perfect. No. And I can guarantee you the women who are posting all these great things of their family and their kids and their house, I look at that and I'm like, how does your house look so nice? Like, shoot, I need to learn from you. But but you have to feel proud about what accomplishments you got for that day. Even if it is just like, I can't take pride in any of my cooking, but I can take pride in, I did a load of laundry today. Be happy that you have clean underwear.
Exactly. And that is a huge accomplishment.
No Febreze on that underwear.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I remember having, especially in my culture, Hispanic culture, you're immaculate home. Nobody's cleaning my house but me. Right. And I'm going to be a great cook. And there's again that social pressure, but cultural pressure as well. Well, shoot, I have a housekeeper now. I have people make my food. I tell the computer what I want and the groceries just show up.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. But time management, and we need to invest our time and not just spend our time. Yes. And some of that investing our time, it goes to ourselves. Yep. Right? It goes right to ourselves. And what our children see from us, they're going to do. Right. Right. And I really didn't want my kids to be, we always say, we're not raising royalty. No. You need to clean your rooms, you have chores, you have responsibilities, you need to be respectful and kind and do more for others than you do for yourself, always. But at the same time, if I'm running myself ragged every single day, they're going to see that and think that's the norm and that they have to do that. And it would be absolutely devastating if I had to see them suffer through something because I could have been a better example. Right. So there's a lot of pressure there. And so, when our kids are in school, I loved when my kids were in school. My kids are all in school now. Of course, they're all nice. I know. It is so nice. But I build the business while they're at school. I'm building the business so that when I'm home, they do have my attention. Because if I'm trying to balance everything and I'm walking in the house on a cell phone, but my family's expecting my attention, they're both suffering, really, because I'm not really paying attention to the person on the phone and I'm neglecting my family. Take my phone call outside, finish my phone call before I walk in, and my family has my undivided attention. And so for me, that's really how, they're going to see that as an example, for their spouses and for their children.
And our girls have noticed, it's so hard. It's so easy to pick up your phone, like even when you're eating dinner. Oh, I got to check what's going on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. Yeah. Or take that phone call or respond to that text. And our girls notice that. And they'll say, like, if I get on to my kids for, put your phone down. You do it too, Mom. Like, oh, that's a little convicting. Yeah. But it is. And they don't want to see their dad who's always busy, who's on the phone all the time, on the computer, on, checking whatever, always working. Someone who's working 100 hours a day and they don't spend any time with their kids. Well, the kids resent that. And they resent that job because they never got that parent. Right. So you want to be there. You do have to, that's where you have to schedule your family is number one. Right. Like, they're not going away. So, God, family, business. Correct. And that's how we approach our business is that our family is first, no matter what. So if anything comes in between that, I'm sorry, but my kids, like I said before, I only have them for so many years. And then you don't want to ever have regrets of, oh, I wish I made an extra $200 because I closed a sale, but I lost hours spending, time reading to my kids going to bed, or, giving them a bath, or whatever it is, seeing them play sports. If you miss that, then that's a huge thing, and your kids remember that.
They remember. They remember. And when we have dinner, I know it's very important for my husband, Tom, to have dinner together. I know you guys do the same thing, right? You guys like to share meals together when you're together.
We like it when we were together, yeah.
Once you have moved out.
A lot of time it's togethers in the car, like running from practice to practice.
But having that communion, together, having that community. And we have a no phone zone. Like when we are sitting, sharing a meal together, and we do that very, very often, it's a no phone zone. Because it's really hard when your phone is sitting there and you see a text and you think, I have to respond immediately. Like, I have to respond. I have to respond. It's such an instant gratification society now that if somebody's texting me, it must be important. They need me. But it's really kind of an ego thing. Like, they can wait. They really don't need me that bad. And if it's important, they'll call or, but again, it's pressure that we put on ourselves. And it's something that we need to be great examples for, not only just to our children, but the other people who you're leading, who are watching, who are trying to build a business like yours, who are looking at us as mentors and leaders. So we have to really kind of be a little more cognizant of that, as well. And our kids on social media, I just tell them when we're watching a movie, put your phone down, please. Just no phone zone. Let's enjoy the movie. Even though we're not talking, we're together.
Right.
And that's been a hard transition for us.
Yeah.
You guys?
Us too.
Yeah.
It's hard especially when you're used to it because you're on your phone all day long.
Yeah.
And that's our life. Our business everything is on our phone.
Right.
And then to go to, okay, you've got to put it away. And sometimes you get addicted. Like I heard the ghost vibrating, like you think your phone's vibrating and going off and it's not. And it's but it's true. Like, oh my gosh. Like it's, our kids need to see that you don't have to work 24/7 to fight for your goals and dreams.
No. That
there's time, there's family time. And that God gave us that. That's what is family is so important. And, so for the girls, I want them to know, mom and dad love you guys so much that you guys come before anything. And they know that, then they feel secure. Your kids feel secure knowing that my parents will do anything for me. They're going to come to any game, make it to anything, but I'm special.
Right.
And when they feel special and they feel wanted, not a business comes before them, then you've got a secure family and you're going to have great kids when they get older.
Absolutely. And I think Simon Sinek said it on one of his TED Talks, is the excitement, the exhilaration that people feel when they get a text. The addiction. It's actually cell phones, social media. It is all an addiction. So we have to learn to, put it aside. Work hours are work hours. Family hours are family hours. And again, it is really hard when you're in the grind and you've got those goals and they're weekly, monthly, and, and you're like, man, I'm so close. But I think putting it away, for just, I'm going to get there. And it doesn't matter if I take this one text or not. So we're going to go ahead and close out this segment of Ladypreneur 100. We're speaking today with Joanna Brown. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And we're talking about how to build your business with your partner, getting out there in the right industry for you, and of course, spending the appropriate time with your family. It's God, family, business. It's been a wonderful journey with you today. Thank you for joining us.